.64. Here you see the lanes 1 through 8. Rowan Robinson will be on the inside. Joey Woody on the outside. The men's 400-meter hurdles as we bring you live track and field coverage here on the Goodwill Games.
Well, there's Atkins. Unfortunately, it looked easy for him in Atlanta. It's been hard. He's had 2 leg injuries, and he really is participating here because he didn't want the world to come to his backyard and not take part. I admire that. Out in lane 6 is young Angelo Taylor, his training mate, who was the 2nd fastest time in the world this year and won the NCAA championships.
Key point to look for, Brian Bronson, he goes out fast.
Brian Bronson in lane 5 as they await the gun in the 400 hurdles. Away from the blocks, a fair start.
What they're dealing with now is a tailwind down the backstretch.
Most important part in the race right now is getting to a running pattern. Brian Bronson is moving out very, very fast. Running up on Angelo Taylor, the youngster. Bronson does go out fast. Don't adjust your sets. That's how he runs this race.
Brian Bronson has won 3 straight U.S. titles. And he's out well with 3 to go.
He said he's learned a lot to prepare for the big meets. He has prepared hard for this competition.
And it is no contest right now. Brian Bronson's sunglasses gleaming comes to the last hurdle. And he has a huge advantage as he comes to the line. Brian Bronson claims gold in the Goodwill Games.
Another fantastic time for Brian Bronson. I tell you, the wind might have had a little bit to do with the time here. 47.15, he's got to be pleased. You know, going into the 96 Olympic Games, he won the Olympic trials, but after that, he went over to Europe. He tried to make too much money, and you know what he said? I ran out of gas by the time the games came. He said, I learned a big lesson. Right here, you see Brian Bronson. Look at that smooth running. That is what you need as a 400 hurdler. You've got to get your steps down, usually about 15 steps between the hurdles, and you just have to keep it flowing.
Brian Bronson out of Jasper, Texas, about 90 minutes east of Houston. And the area he lives in, they call Bronsonville. A lot of family right there, and I'm sure they are dancing around the set tonight because Brian Bronson won this thing going away, Marty. 2nd
fastest time of the year. Only he's run faster. He's very strong. His coach is Kim Rinkle, a marathon runner. He's run a mile this year in 5:15, and he really looks strong. I thought the way he went down the backstretch with the wind at his back, when he got in the home stretch with a headwind, he was really going to be dying, but it looked like he gave the world record a scare.
Brian Bronson claiming the gold medal and getting congratulations trackside. Angelo Taylor finishing 2nd, the kid out of Georgia Tech, only 19 years old, and a tough night for Derek Atkins, finishing way back in the pack. In fact, he was dead last 8th, and as you pointed out, Marty, he's been hurting lately.
Well, you know, these days the prima donnas all want to be 100% before they step on the track. He didn't do that. He showed up and ran even though he knew he was below par.
Let's go down to Craig Sager.
Well, Brian, you've got the 2 fastest times in the world this year. Everything going very smooth. The rhythm is there.
Yeah, I felt very good today. I ran a couple of good races in the year. Came back here.
On the track, the men's 400-meter hurdles. World record held by Kevin Young, set in Barcelona, Spain. Llewellyn Herbert of South Africa, the world leader. And Angelo Taylor, who has shocked the track and field world many, many times. He did so at the NCAAs, giving up now his final 2 years of college eligibility, as you touched on earlier in the show, Dwight.
Also, he ran in the National Scholastic meet right here in 1996 and won that. Ranked 3rd in the world in the 400-meter hurdles in 1998. He really is on schedule to do well this summer at the World Championships and, more importantly, next year at the Olympic Games.
And there's Derek Atkins, who was a 1996 gold medalist and is still struggling right now to find that gold medal form. He has not run very well since winning the gold medal and has only run 48.71 this year, hoping to get back on schedule and possibly make that team going to Seville later this summer.
As you look at the rest of the lanes, lanes 2 and 8 are open in this competition. McClinton Neal is in lane 1. William Porter in lane 3 out of Texas El Paso. We mentioned Taylor and Atkins. Calvin Davis is in lane 6. Young man from Fayetteville, Arkansas. You recall the legend of John McDonald, the outstanding coach of the Razorbacks. Jesse Allen will be in lane 7.
You know, when you go back to Derek Adkins, the biggest problem about that is you're the Olympic champion. So every race you go into, they're going to always mention that. So when you're trying to get back into your form, it's very difficult to sneak into a couple of races and get some good races. So it puts a lot of pressure on athletes that have coming back from injuries, etc., to get in there and get the job done and prepare themselves the best they can. 3
Olympians in this race. McClinton Neal in lane 1 was on the 92 team. Derek Adkins, of course, was the Olympic champion in 96. And Calvin Davis in lane 6 was the Olympic bronze medalist in 1996. And of course, we expect Angelo Taylor, an Olympian of the future.
We'll watch closely for lanes 4 and lane 5. Angelo Taylor and Derek Adkins will be side by side.
And Adkins and Taylor both coached at Georgia Tech by Grover Hinsdale, so they have the advantage of having the same strategy as they do run races. And you can see Taylor out very, very well early in this race.
Now, this is known as a rhythm race, Carol, and Taylor making good use of that.
He definitely is. You know, they have about 13, 14 strides between the hurdles, and that is the most important part of the race. Going fast doesn't count if you chop your steps.
As they come into the back turn, Adkins in lane 5 has the lead. It's a narrow one.
And Taylor has really struggled. He's hit some problems on the back stretch, and he's way out of it as Adkins now leading down the stretch.
Davis pulled up, hitting one of the hurdles, and now it's Adkins in lane 5. Taylor in lane 4 making a late stretch. Angelo Taylor.
Very, very sloppy race for all the athletes involved. You saw Calvin Davis, in fact, trip over the 8th hurdle, which is probably one of the toughest hurdles in the 400-meter hurdles because it's a transition hurdle off of the turn. Very, very ugly race. But I'll tell you, for Derek Adkins, he's got to be pretty happy with that performance. He has not been running very well, and he was just a couple of feet away from winning the race. You see right here, coming off of the last turn, Derek Adkins, second to the left of your screen. Calvin Davis going down. That throws a lot of the athletes out of their game. But look at Angelo Taylor right inside Derek Adkins right here. Clears that hurdle very well and starts gathering himself and said, you know what, I can catch him.
Yeah, clearly, what happened to Davis impacted Adkins down the stretch.
No question about that, but Angelo Taylor was focused on the finish line. He knew that he had not run that good a race and it wasn't going that fast. At 48.88, that's a time that's pretty easy for him, so he wins the race, but everyone's got to work on that technique over the next 2 weeks.
Well, Nationals coming up in Eugene there, as you see the winner, who is by the side of Michelle Tafoya. Michelle?
All right, thank you.
From the inside, Young, Porter, Mann, Davis, Sanchez, Taylor, Zellner, and Allen. Calvin Davis out well. Kevin Young on the inside, running well. Calvin Davis. Calvin Davis, outside Zellner and
Shut. Peter, Davis, Taylor, Woody, Thomas, and Zellner. Third closely front field, but Angela Taylor seems to have a piece of an edge over that last hurdle. Taylor in lane 5, and now Joey Woody moving up in lane 6. Joey Woody in lane 6, and Zellner in 8, and here comes Albert Davis in 4, and Taylor 5, but Joey Woody and Eric Thomas in 6 and 7, leading up the main total. Woody and Eric Thomas. Joey Woody and Eric Thomas, and here comes Angela Taylor.
Who won it? Taylor.
And there he goes on the scoreboard. Angela Taylor, Joey Williams, Aaron Zellner on top 2.
Sales, Lacey, Derby, Kamani, Carter, Taylor, Hall, and Nichols. James Carter runs very well. Carter in 5. Kamani in the green and yellow, and Taylor in 4. It's Carter with Taylor on his outside. Carter and Kamani riding evenly as we reach the halfway point. Now Angela Taylor out in lane 6. Taylor is second last hurdle. Taylor about even, but Taylor starts to go away a little bit. And as we come to the tape, it'll be Taylor, Kamani, Carter, and on the outside, Reagan Nichols. There's the official winning time for Taylor, 49:44. He'll be joined in the final by Kamani, Carter, and Nichols.
From Stadium, Australia, the final now in the men's 400-meter hurdles. And young James Carter, 22 years old, from Baltimore, Maryland, is in the race. Caused quite a stir in his semifinal when he coasted home in front, but then taunted the rest of the field.
Well, I talked to James Carter this afternoon about that gesture right there, and he said he got the third degree from U.S. coaches, teammates, and other athletes from other countries even told him he was wrong. He said he made that gesture, it was just an immature act, and he was sort of lost in the moment, the raw emotion of it all. Even his mom, Marilyn Knight, said, "James, what were you doing?"
There's Mom Marilyn. So it admonished James Carter, ready to take the track here for the final. and certainly a factor, even though he's only 22 years old. And a very tough lane one, Angelo Taylor of the United States. He made a youthful mistake too. World Championships last summer, he eased up in the first round and was eliminated. He said that'll never happen to him again. But Angelo tonight has to contend with that very, very difficult lane one. In lane two, Paweł Januszewski of Poland, 5th at the World Championships in Seville, and the Polish record holder, former European champion. In lane three, Fabrizio Mori of Italy, gold medal at the World Championships last summer, setting an Italian record, his 3rd Olympic Games. In lane four, Hadi Al Samadi of Saudi Arabia, the Asian record holder, set that record in his semifinal race and has been working with John Smith in California. Lane five is James Carter. Big surprise at the Olympic trials, 3rd to make the team. His mom works at a nursing home in Baltimore. They collected money to get her here to watch her son in person at the Olympics. In lane six is Llewellyn Herbert of South Africa. His chances for gold improved as Angelo Taylor drew lane one. He and Taylor have had quite a battle going. Herbert is 3-1 versus Taylor. In lane seven, Gennady Gorbenko of Ukraine, personal best in the semifinals on Monday, the former world junior champion. And in lane eight, from Brazil, Ironil de Araujo, South American record holder and 3-time Pan American Games champion in his 3rd Olympics, a finalist in Atlanta, but finished 8th. And Llewellyn Herbert, they call him, or we call him anyway, backwards Llewellyn. He focuses by facing backwards by the starting blocks.
He has become the favorite now by virtue of coming out of lane 6. Angelo Taylor, who was one of the favorites, didn't run well in the last round and got that inside lane. Men have won from lane 1 before, but only once, John Akibua in 1972, and Angelo knows that.
Well, I talked with him about this lane 1 situation, and he said that he's going to treat it like any other lane. That's been his mentality all day. I said his plan or his goal has not changed. He knows that he came to Sydney as the Olympic gold favorite, and he's expecting nothing less, even out of lane 1.
Angelo Taylor was NCAA champion in '98, decided to forego his remaining collegiate eligibility at Georgia Tech. And on their way in the 400-meter hurdles, the first barrier approaches. Angelo Taylor out quickly in lane 1.
And the advantage that Taylor has is that he can see the entire field in front of him as he's beginning to make up the stagger already.
And so is Carter on Llewellyn Herbert.
James Carter's looking great out there. He's past Herbert, and he's putting the pressure on Llewellyn Herbert of South Africa.
And Araujo of Brazil in that outside lane is often winging as well. Carter and Herbert running together as they come to the top of the home straightaway. And just inside them, Al Samali of Saudi Arabia. And Al Samali and Angelo Taylor are battling. Carter's coming on 3rd. Here's the final hurdle. Angelo Taylor in lane 1. Al Samali in the center of the track. To the line, close. I think Taylor in lane 1 might have gotten the lead for the victory. It was very close. Taylor and Al Samali of Saudi Arabia in the center of the track. He holds his hands out. He doesn't know who won either.
Well, Taylor is in prayer because he's waiting for the announcement.
There it is. Taylor got it.
Unbelievable.
From lane 1, the toughest lane on the track, Angelo Taylor nips Al Samali at the finish line to win the gold medal.
Well, I'm thinking back to the conversation that I had with Angelo Taylor today, and he sounded so confident that he could actually do this. And you know, when you think about it, you say to yourself, you know, that's going to be tough, nearly impossible. But look at the finish here as Angelo Taylor, who has been great over the first 8 hurdles, and then somehow he always has something left at the end. And out of lane 1, he had just enough to hold off Al Samali. Look at the effort to get to the line first.
No worries, had it all the way.
Taylor went out fast, and this is a kind of a race that was just a gutsy race. His strong point is off of the last hurdle, but this is what high school and college coaches will be telling their poor guys who draw lane 1 for the next 30 years. Angelo Taylor won from lane 1. You can do it.
Quite an effort by Angelo Taylor. Lane 1, gutting it out off the last hurdle to the finish to get the victory and claim the gold medal. Angelo Taylor wins the gold in 47.50. James Carter finished 4th. And what about that hurdling hotbed? Southwest DeKalb High School in Decatur, Georgia. Angelo and Terrence Trammell, teammates there. Trammell won silver in the 110-meter hurdles.
And we'll hear from Angelo Taylor when we come back. Also, Marion Jones in her attempt to qualify for the long jump final.